We're looking at word problems using right triangles. So I'm going to try this where I do one, you guys do one, I do one, you guys do one, okay? A damsel in distress is being held captive in a tower. Her knight in shining armor is on the ground below with a ladder. When the knight stands 15 feet from the base of the tower and looks up at his precious damsel, the angle of elevation to her window is 60 degrees. How long does the ladder have to be? Okay, so we've got a tower. Her knight in shining armor is on the ground below with a ladder. So if we have a ladder, that would go sideways. Okay, so right there, that's my right triangle where this is the tower, this is the ladder. Okay, her knight in shining armor is on the ground below with a ladder. When the knight stands 15 feet from the base, so 15 has to go on the bottom, base of the tower, and he's looking up at his precious damsel, the angle of elevation is 60 degrees. How long does the ladder have to be? Okay, so I've made my triangle. Yep, SOHCAHTOA. Sure. Okay, so now that I'm looking at this, I'm going to label the sides. So first, I would read the story problem all the way through. Second, I would make my picture where, you're putting the feet and the angles and what you're trying to find all down. Third is label my sides. So I know I'm looking for my angle. This is my adjacent. This is my hypotenuse. So now I'm looking at where H and A are. That's for cosine. So then it's cosine, the angle, equals, A goes on top, so that's 15 goes on top, X goes on bottom, because that's my hypotenuse. Now remember, I'm going to switch two things. I'm going to switch the cosine 60 and the X. So I'm going to get X equals 15 divided by cosine 60. We also could do this by multiplying both sides by X. These cancel, and then we have to divide by cosine 60. But I feel like that takes a long time, and we get the same result. So then I put this in my calculator. I highly recommend hitting Control Divide because it makes a nice fraction. And then put 15 trig cosine 60. And I get X equals 30 feet. Okay? All right, I'm going to walk around and see how you're doing with doing this next one, but I am going to read it out loud to you first. Suppose you're flying a kite and it gets caught in the top of the tree. You've let out all 100 feet of string for the kite, and the angle that the string makes with the ground is 75 degrees. Instead of worrying about how to get your kite back, you wonder, how tall is the tree? Okay? So think about what a kite looks like. And then you've let out the string all the way. Draw this picture, guys. Draw this picture. Have this paper in front of you. Number 2. On the classwork side.
I did a lot of class. I got the
That's some bullshit.
Label it opposite, adjacent, or hypotenuse.
Okay,
I'm letting out the string. Is the string straight up in the air or label it opposite, adjacent, or hypotenuse? It's gonna be just a recording of you sharpening your pencil. Yes, I am. Yeah, it's done. Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's look at number 2 then. I saw a lot of people have a good start of this. We've got our right triangle. This is my tree, so this must be my string. That's how I got 100 feet here. I had people have that 100 feet in a lot of different places. Think about a kite. It's got to go to the side, and we're looking for the tree. Shh. And we're at 75 degrees. This is my opposite. This is my hypotenuse. So I'm going to use sine. Sine of 75 equals opposite x over hypotenuse 100. So I stick 100 sine 75 in my calculator. Remember, if you're using your phone at home to do this, you're just putting it in backwards. You go 75 sine and then times 100. And I get 96.59 feet. Okay, so it's a very tall tree. All right. 96.59 feet. Okay, let's look at number 3 together. I'm going to call this a submarine because submersible is hard for me to say.
Submergible?
Yeah. A submarine traveling at a depth of 2,500 feet dives at an angle of 15 degrees with respect to a line parallel to the water surface. It travels a horizontal distance of 1,500 feet during the dive. What is the depth of the submarine after the dive? Okay, so here's the surface of the water. I'm 250 feet below the surface is my little submarine. Okay, so here's my, I don't know, little submarine guy. Okay, so I'm going to dive at an angle with the surface. So if I was to do here, I'm diving down at 15 degrees. Okay. It travels a horizontal distance of 1,500 feet during the dive. So I've gone 1,500, this is why I'm doing this one with you. 1,500 feet. I want to know this right here. What axis?
The top one, all right.
Okay. So I know this is a little weird, right? Because we start out 250 feet below the surface. The point of this is we still use this right triangle right here. The point of this is whatever we get, we're going to have to add 250 to it because it wants to know how far down we've gone. So we're just going to have to add that to it. This is my adjacent, this is my opposite, so I'm going to use tan of 15 equals the opposite over the adjacent. Shh. So I get 1,500 tan 15 equals x. So I put that in my calculator. 1,500 tan 15. And I get 401.92 feet equals x. But remember, I then have to add 250 to it. So I have to go 401.92 plus 250 to get my total depth, which is 651.92 feet. That's my total depth. The issue with the drawing is just remember that we're already 250 feet below the water. So if you ignored this top part and just drew it like that, and I know the triangle's like upside down to the way we've been drawing it before, you have to figure out it's horizontal to the water and then it's 15 feet below. Okay, for this next one, I'm gonna draw the picture And then I'm going to have you guys figure it out, because this picture's a little confusing. Brothers Bob and Tom Katz buy a tent that has a center pole of 6.25 feet high. If the sides of the tent are supposed to make a 50-degree angle with the ground, how wide is the tent? Okay, so if you know what a tent looks like, it's like this, right? And here's my center pole. Okay? So do you guys get that we're just going to look at one side of this? So this is my center pole. This is 6.25 feet. Okay? This pole with the ground makes 90 degrees, and the sides of the tent are 50. I just want to find, you should not be watching anything on your phones right now. You should be focused on me and paying attention. Do you guys not have, yeah, okay. So I'm looking right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ignore this side, but when I find my answer, I'm going to double it because I want the whole length of the tent. Does that make sense? Yeah. Okay. So I want you guys, I've set up the picture for you. Now I want you to decide what you're doing. Like label the sides, opposite, adjacent, hypotenuse. Decide what the angles are. Like, not the angles, what trig function you're going to use. Sine, cosine, and tangent. Okay, so circle the angle first. What is x do? I guess it's the opposite adjacent. Yep, total area. What is that, 6.2? Okay, we'll go up there. Which one uses O and A?
Of course you are.
All right. Gonna give you about another minute. Chris, do you have last night's homework?
Yeah.
This one's the opposite over adjacent, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it should be.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
My what? Aren't you gonna be here first thing in the morning?
No.
What? You live today?
Yeah.
Well, I've got tomorrow's work for you.
Oh, like you say that. And I don't want to be like excused. Tomorrow's not happening, right? Yeah. And you think so?
Like,
You said you're not having to talk. Straight having.
Hey, Miss Murphy, let me get that word.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, let me get it too.
you might as well not have class.
What now? I don't want that. Come on. I'm not.
Read them out, seriously.
I'm going. I'm look at it. Look at
Miss
it.
Murphy, we can change the pictures already.
Homework's in the back. Okay, let's finish this problem and then we'll be done, guys. Shh. I need like 2 more minutes of your time.
Oh, I remember what you said.
Maybe less. Okay, quiet please. Shh. Right, here's my angle, 50 degrees. This is my opposite and adjacent, so I'm going to use tan. Tan of 50 equals opposite 6.25 over adjacent x. So it's x equals 6.25 divided by tan of 50.
And you say you can type in x equals or just...
Don't type in x equals. No, let me show you.
6.25 divided by...
Yeah.
Trig, tan, 50.
So I like to hit the whole control divide because it makes that little fraction thing. Stop talking while I'm talking. I got like 1 more minute of stuff to say. Shh. And then I'm going to put 6.25, and I've got the tan of 50 on the bottom. I hit enter, and that gives me x is 5.24. And then it,
Done.
now we're not done. We've got to times that by 2. 5.24 times 2 gives me 10.48 feet is how wide the tent is. Questions?
No.
Okay, so your homework on the back is the same thing. You're just going to have to set up all these drawings. And I would write SOHCAHTOA on the back of my homework as well, so that you have it there.
No, I'll say